Shawn Andrich here from Gamers with Jobs, and I'm joined today by gaming freelancer extraordinaire, Mr. Rob Zacny.
How are you today, Shawn?
I'm doing very well. I am braced for getting my ass kicked handily.
You say that, but I think you're just playing to the crowd there to make it like so when you win, people are gonna be like, "Oh wow, that's Shawn. He really found his A game." And
yeah, well, it's like the presidential debates. I'm just lowering the expectations ahead of time.
Right.
So we are going to play a multiplayer round of XCOM here and just talk a little bit about the game as we go. Just a couple things to note. We are playing without a turn time limit, just in case we get caught up talking. We don't want to have to be rushing through. So a normal multiplayer game of XCOM, at least on the average, the default is 120 seconds per turn. So you got 120 seconds to move up to 6 guys and do what you're going to do. So in the games I've played prior, 120 seconds is pretty good. Like, it keeps you moving, but you don't feel like you're totally overwhelmed. Unless you're a really indecisive bugger, then it can be kind of tricky.
There are times when that... Okay, I guess I'm pretty indecisive. There have been times where that last 30 seconds where I got a really knotty problem, and that last 30 seconds, boy, that's a brutal countdown.
Mm-hmm. So I've actually just gone in. Yesterday I was messing around with trying to play without the glamour camera and without the third person, just to kind of play it as a more classic. I'm playing XCOM. I'm going to run around and just kind of see everything from above. I actually prefer it with the glamour cam. It gives me more context as to what's going on. Moving out. I just kind of vastly prefer that.
Yeah, the glam cam is pretty good. I kind of... It's useful to get that sort of eye-level view of the action, and, you know, let's face it, they did a really good job with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did. There's definitely some jank once in a while where you're shooting through walls or through rocks or silly little things like that, but not too often. For the most part, it's usually pretty good. That moment when you realize your sniper does not have the grappling hook you thought she would have, so that's okay.
You didn't get the skeleton suit?
No, apparently not. So what we did here, we didn't include it in the video, but basically, when you play multiplayer XCOM, you get a point allotment. So like you can do 10,000 points or 20,000 points, and then different units will require different amounts of points to use. So if you take a regular soldier who's 800 points, and you throw them into some really good armor, then that may cost you an extra 800 or 1,000 points. So basically, the better the dude is you create, the more points. So you get that question of, do I want to have like a few really tough guys? Do I want to have a bunch of lower level guys? Those kind of questions. So we're playing 20,000 points, which is a pretty healthy amount. That gives me a couple captains, some I think 1 or 2 lieutenants. So I don't really have many rookies. Maybe this. No, even my sniper is pretty good. So 20,000 points. You've got a pretty robust team. I think I've even got a guy who can do mind control. Not that I've successfully managed to do that yet, because you have to get so close in order to do it. So we'll see if I can pull any of that off. So as you can see here, when it's not your turn, there's not a whole lot for you to do. You can basically bring the camera out, you can look around a bit, see where your dudes are, but you can't go through menus, can't look at your powers, you know, kind of think about what you want to do next. You can just basically look, and that's about it. You can rotate the camera around too. Now, Rob, you're playing with mouse and keyboard, yes?
Yes, I am.
And is that simply because you're a stubborn purist, or have you tried it with a controller?
So I just got batteries for my 360 controllers yesterday because I literally haven't touched them in like maybe 4 months. So yeah. Those need to get fired up. I got them actually so I could play Mark of the Ninja, because that I'm simply not going to play mouse and keyboard in all likelihood. Mm-hmm. So I've got a Steam code for that, and you know that's why. If not for that game, I don't think I'd have re-upped on the Xbox controllers.
Yeah, fair enough. I would really try it with XCOM. I was playing with Charlie Hall, who's doing a review for Ars Technica, and you know he was saying he was getting a little bit annoyed with the mouse and keyboard. Just the hitting when you're clicking on things, you've got to hit an extra key to activate certain actions. If you want to go into Overwatch, you kind of have to click through some menus, and it just feels a little bit slow. But with the controller, a lot of the face buttons are assigned to the more common tasks like Overwatch. XCOM really does seem...
Oh, God. See, okay, so just something went a little bit wonky for me there, and this is, I guess, one of my problems with the game. So, the game does this sort of like snap to your guy when it automatically cycles between your soldiers. Yeah. And the camera usually snaps to show you when that's happened. Mm-hmm. But occasionally it doesn't, and it leaves you centered on the last guy you were controlling. And so then you give an order to the dude, and someone else completely moves.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. So it's a little frustrating. So I kind of just wasted a character's turn here, which is annoying because he's kind of pokey. Yeah,
that sucks. I'll try not to take advantage of that. So you'll notice here on my screen, because obviously the viewers can only see my view, that what I'm doing here is I'm putting guys at various corners, and often I'm putting them in Overwatch. Overwatch is super, super important in XCOM. It's a mode that basically... It actually is reminiscent of playing Space Hulk, the board game, when you set your guy up, and when you put them into Overwatch, they'll basically hold an action. So if they see an enemy when they're in Overwatch, they'll automatically take a shot. So that means basically if I just have someone in Overwatch and I've got my guy standing there, and one of Rob's guys just comes into view, my guy's going to take a shot at him, just automatically. So it's usually kind of a snapshot. It's not necessarily going to get you a kill all the time, unless it's a low-level enemy like a sectoid. But it's good. It's really a game about controlling space and kind of controlling the battlefield to some degree. So Overwatch is a super important part of it. Got it covered. Downside, of course, is that you are left with. It means like if you go into Overwatch, you've got two actions basically. So you can move and then shoot, unless you're a sniper who can't move and shoot unless you've got a perk for that, or you can just do what you consider a double move, which is actually a really D&D style thing, where rather than say I'm going to move and attack, or I'm going to attack and then move. You can just say I'm going to move and then move again. So that's how you sort of dash and get extra distance in what you're doing. Oh, so we've spotted our first brief glimpse of one of Rob's units along the side of the building there. Looks like he's got some aliens. Looks like he's coming into he's opening a door anyway. So getting back to the controller, I'm playing on the 360, and on the 360 controller, this really feels like a game that was intended for a controller, built ground up. It's workable with the mouse and keyboard. It's not bad by any stretch, but I find it very comfortable with the controller. Oh, here comes a
popping smoke.
Oh, smoke. Okay, that's still kind of bad. Smoke, as you can see, is very purpley. So I like the 360 controller. I've actually pushed the game down to my TV on my 52-inch plasma and played it with the controller, and it's a great experience. So I think console players are going to be totally fine. They're not going to feel gimped. Like I said, if anything, I feel like the controller works a bit better, just because some of the more common actions are mapped to face buttons. It flows very nicely with the controller. So that's what I've settled on. But most people like Rob, mouse and keyboard's totally fine too. Bummer with controllers, you've got to cycle through guys to get to the one you want rather than just clicking on them. Oh, here we go. Here's my Overwatch.
Are you kidding me?
Sizzled a laser shot through the smoke and hit for 5 damage. That's not too bad. So you can actually see his health there. You've got 5 cleared out blocks, and then he's still got another 7 filled in. Now, it shows me that he's gone into Overwatch, which is kind of funny. So I don't know why I didn't get an Overwatch shot on your dude beside the door, but I got one on the one across the way. It's probably just a line of sight thing.
No, so my guy got to position and then opened the door, but opening the door does not count as an action, so it doesn't pop Overwatch on opening a door. and neither does attacking, actually. So Overwatch does nothing if someone's going to, like, step out and shoot. That doesn't really work. So what happened there is my guy was already in position, and because technically no move happened once she was in position, Overwatch never triggered.
Ah, okay, well, there you go. See, I'm learning things. I knew I would. And you'll have to forgive me if I sound slightly froggy. I'm full of Dayquil and trying to suppress a cold, so my voice is not quite what it normally is. So one of the key differences here between this version of XCOM and the original is they've eliminated the issue of facing. In the original XCOM, you actually turning your soldiers around cost you movement. Like, it cost you time points in order to just make them turn or crouch or things like that. They've taken that all out, so your characters, your players on the screen, have a 360-degree awareness at all times. So even though, say, I've got my character down here, but behind this this box. You know, she's facing, kind of looking down the alley. If someone comes from the other corner, if she had Overwatch, she would still turn around and shoot at them. And it also means that if I can see you, you can see me. It's actually very predictable in that sense. You can't get the drop on somebody in terms of, you know, like, I'm across the way, they're facing over there, so now I can sneak up on them. When you're playing XCOM, as soon as you can see me, by default, I have line of sight to see you almost every time. So it becomes a game more about almost kind of keeping things behind your back, you know, not revealing certain units you've got until the last moment, kind of when you have other units distracting people or keeping them occupied. So it's one of those fiddly things they've taken out of XCOM.
So I just had to end my turn because, for whatever reason, my sniper was not selectable. And this is something I've actually run into in both games I've played of XCOM, where occasionally, like, it just gets sort of stuck on a unit that's already taken its actions, and then you simply cannot switch. And so the only way to get control again is to end the turn.
Yeah, so here you can see I've actually got line of sight on 2 of Rob's characters, and you can tell by the cover on the guy on the right, who I've already shot in Overwatch, is a half shield, which means it's only partial cover. And then the cover for his woman there, who's around the corner, she's in full cover, so my percentage to hit her is less, which is interesting. Now, the smoke should reduce my ability to hit. Like, I've got a 62% chance on that guy across the way, which is decent. It's not fantastic, but it's definitely decent. You can see here when I'm picking my target, the camera sweeps in, gives you that nice, clean 3D look. I re-enabled that simply because I really like getting that context. It really helps things out quite a bit.
Well, it just said the network connection has been lost.
Aye, Commander.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It looks normal on mine.
Well, I'm still connected, and our game just ended.
Oh, wow. And I'm still in game. Fantastic.
Wow, that's great.
Sigh. Yeah, this round was starting pretty good for me. I don't know. It's really feeling good. I'm going to end my turn and just see what happens. Opponent's turn. Game. I win!
God damn it.
It says you disconnected.
So it saw you end your turn, but I still had the error message in front of me and it wouldn't move. So it continue, and then it kicked me out to menu.
All right. Well, the nice thing is the squads we made will still be there, so we'll just fire another one up here, and let's do a different one, and we'll just see if it settles out or not. But this is kind of the thing about XCOM multiplayer, is that it's fairly it's relatively bare bones. Like, it's there's not really a lot to it. It's doing the bare minimum it needs to give you multiplayer, which is you can start a game, you can set a point limit for the amount of points you want in your game. In this case, it's 20,000. You can invite another person into the game, and then you can play.
So
and that's it. There's only one game mode. There's 5 maps, and that's it.
So it looks like what happened, because I've got a couple chat windows that were here from earlier. It looks like I lost the connection to Steam for like a heartbeat.
Yeah, and I've actually had that issue with Steam myself, so I don't even know if this is an XCOM specific issue.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, losing the connection to Steam like totally crashed our multiplayer. So I mean, that doesn't usually happen when I'm playing. So to a degree, it seems like it's a little bit of an XCOM issue. Just that the moment it senses Steam isn't there, you know, it slams the brakes on things. I love this Deus Ex soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
to the game. I think it's the same composer, right?
It is the same composer, and he really didn't stretch far to get away from his Deus Ex sound. I mean, it works. It's a good fit.
No,
sure.
it totally works. Like this is the sort of music I put on when I want to have a day of like intense cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm. So multiplayer is one game mode, which is the mode we were just playing, which is just head-to-head. There's 5 maps to play on. And one thing that was actually causing us some issue just getting the recording going was simply... okay, there you go. So yeah, and I'm ready. One thing that was just causing a recording issue was that the multiplayer doesn't use Steamworks. So if I go into Steam settings and I kill my in-game voice chat because I want to use Ventrilo or Skype or something else, it won't actually let me do that. Like the XCOM will just jack whatever sound you've got, and off you go. Like, so it's actually treating your PC like it's Xbox, because on Xbox Live, of course, all you got to worry about doing is simply, sorry, I should get my dudes going here. All you have to do is show up, you know, you're in game, you're on voice. If you don't want to talk, you set it to mute, and you're good. But on the PC, I have 3 different items plugged into my computer that could potentially be picking up audio. So we're trying to actually suppress the in-game voice, so our Skype track is what's here, and we had to jump through all kinds of hoops just to get, you know, have my headset plugged in but muted, so it thinks I'm using the headset, and then have Skype using the actual record. It's just silly. So it just all speaks to the bottom line, which is simply that this is not what you would consider a robust multiplayer. Like, I enjoy playing it. But as you've noticed, like when you're doing your turns, or when you're not doing your turns, there's not a lot to do. You're going to twiddle your thumbs a lot. It's almost kind of multiplayer.
The countdown clock is still on, by the way.
Oh crap! Yeah, that's fine. That'll keep us moving. I'm moving all my dudes right now. So basically you're just twiddling your thumbs. This is almost a bring a book multiplayer.
Moving up. So, I like this map. I've played this map a few times in the campaign, and I enjoy the, you know, the sort of little, like, fountain and park there in the middle. It's an interesting feature to the map, and it's cool the way it sort of, like, creates these two sort of, like, fire lanes down the sides of the map. And then the middle is interesting because it gives you a big advantage if you can take it, but it's also a shooting gallery up there.
Oh, totally. Like, in the that's one of the early single-player kind of tutorial sort of maps. Yeah, like I had a guy running up the middle who just you're a little bit elevated from the edges, so you are at great risk of just getting nailed by someone in Overwatch when you're up there. So I talked about the facing a little bit and how that doesn't matter. The other fiddly thing they've taken out is there's no inventory. There's no ammo management, inventory management in-game. So in the original XCOM, you'd be pulling up inventory, you'd be picking things up off of corpses, you know, you'd have allies die, and so you'd go to their body and pick up their stuff because, like, you need more ammo for your living guys. And in this case, in the case of this, there's none of that. So there is an inventory before you go out on a mission, and typically you've got room for 1 gun, 1 type of body armor, a smaller side, like a pistol of some kind, and then an item, which could be a grenade, it could be a scope that makes your shooting more accurate, it can be extra armor, it can be med kits, it can be an arc thrower, which you can use to stun aliens to take them back alive. So it really forces you to specialize. It's turned XCOM into more of a... Charlie Hall was basically saying yesterday, which I thought was a great point, it turns XCOM into more of a board game. in a lot of ways, because it's taken a lot of the fiddly old school PC game bits out and replaced them with more board game style mechanics in terms of outfitting, outfitting your guys, picking abilities. Like when I'm playing XCOM, I could totally see this prototyped as a board game. Like, to me, it would make total sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's perfect for it because it's got, every character has such a limited set of actions. Like, the choices are very clear, and there's clear implications for it. If they're in Overwatch, you get a reaction shot. It's very much a board game I like to play a lot with Hedge Wizard and Julian, Tide of Iron, where it allows for a lot of tactical depth, but the rules are very straightforward, and there's not a lot of math you have to worry about while you're playing it. You learn that basic set of actions, and then the special class skills that your characters get, and then you're pretty much set. There's not much you have to do beyond that, and I don't know. I kind of I like the focus. Like, I mean, I love games like Jagged Alliance, XCOM, but I do find that this is kind of a skip to the bottom of the page kind of game where you've got games that have all those variables. The amount of times where having all those like fine gradations of probability and actions you can take, the amount of times that actually matters is actually kind of small. Like, a lot of times you could boil it down to simple choices, and there's edge cases where suddenly every last scrap of math counts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really true. And one of the other things, byproducts of their kind of paring down some of those more fiddly things, getting closer to just the essence of controlling guys, positioning, playing the odds, rolling dice, taking shots, is that what XCOM does, and this is something that Jake Solomon on 3 Moves Ahead, which if you haven't listened to that podcast, you absolutely should go find that episode, because you guys had a great discussion about XCOM. One of the things, to my mind, is that because it flows so well, and because you've got such quick... Oh, are you shooting at me already? Oh, you son of a bitch. Man, look at you dropping some range with that laser rifle, too. One of the things is that because the game is so much snappier, and Jake talked about, in the original XCOM, you could land in the middle of a map, and you'd have to just kind of fan out, and you could go turn after turn after turn with nothing happening, and it could get kind of boring. So you'd really have to work to get to those moments that got really tense and really exciting. What XCOM is doing here is, I really do get a sense that, that I'm making an interesting decision every 30 seconds or so. Like, maybe, obviously not when I'm playing multiplayer and I have to, wait for the other guy to do his turn. Ooh, there you go. A little tit for tat. It's a little bit different, but generally speaking, I'm every 30 seconds in single player, there's an enemy nearby, or there's positioning I'm dealing with. It's rare that see, I wish I'd picked a sniper that could move and then shoot. It's the worst. So I'm going to switch to this awesome pistol. Just snap off some quick pistol shots. Yeah, oh, critical pistol. Nothing wrong with that. So yeah, I'm making interesting decisions constantly, which in any game is really important. In a turn-based strategy game is really hard to do. To get to a point where you feel like every 30 seconds to a minute there's something cool going on. Uh-oh. This is oh boy, that's Overwatch with a big gun. Oh boy.
Incoming over here.
Yeah, that's my Muton Elite, okay. A character that was embargoed until Monday. So this is actually the first time I've encountered the little bastard too.
Oh wow, yeah, I haven't seen him in multiplayer yet. So, see, I've only got a 27% shot at him. I got a 47% shot at her, and I got a chance to actually take her out. So I'm going to take this shot, even though it's a relatively low percentage. Yeah.
Got him.
Always take that kill when you can.
On the move.
So now I gotta. So early in the game, there you notice I was doing a lot of dashing, just to kind of get up and get my positioning right. Now I've got to kind of slow that down a bit because because obviously we're starting to meet up, and I don't want to get too overwhelmed with the Overwatch attacks, because that can be nasty. And now you can hear my turn time about to give out, because I'm talking too much. So there we go, right under the wire. So you can see 120 seconds is pretty robust. When you're doing 6 guys and you're trying to make decisions, it can feel like no time at all, which is good, because playing unlimited, especially if you're playing public matches, would suck. Because there's some guys who will just... Oh, so here's one of the weird things. So I just got an Overwatch shot that clearly has no line of sight from that third-person perspective, but in game terms, it's saying, no, don't worry, even though there's geometry between you and the guy, we are saying you've got some line of sight. Well, I'm getting a lot of line of sight here, and I cannot hit with any of them. I can't hit with any of them. So your guy there, you actually saw, had a nice little feature called lightning reflexes, which means the first Overwatch attack on you when you're moving is pretty much guaranteed to miss. Now, thankfully, I had more Overwatch shots. Unfortunately, none of them could land. But you saw that one Overwatch shot that went right through the geometry. Oh, those shotguns are nasty. Oh my god. That Overwatch shot went right through the geometry. From the third-person perspective, I couldn't even see you, but there's still the chance I get hit. That's where the board game, the abstraction, comes in. It's a 3D game, it's showing you a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, this is still stats, dice rolling, percentages. So even if it doesn't look like you should have an angle, if the game says you do, then you do. I've seen shots where I clearly don't have an angle, I'm looking from below, but when I take the shot, usually XCOM will actually adjust and they'll say, oh, and then the enemy will poke his head up. Just at the last second, he'll poke his head up when the bullet hits him. You know, it's kind of funny like that, but that's one thing that it kind of makes you wonder if the Call of Duty set, who might be attracted to this sort of, dudes with guns running around, Gears of War taking cover sort of looking gameplay, are going to be down with this idea that sometimes I'm going to get the drop on somebody, I'll have the perfect angle, I'll shoot, and I will just completely miss. I'm being suppressed.
Hey, a little help.
Ugh, Rob is suppressing the crap out of me. So suppression is basically it costs more ammo than a regular shot. But the bonus is that, like with this character who's suppressed, if I take a shot, you see my hit percentage is really low, and he's going to get a free shot at me if I try. So suppression is a great way to control the battlefield. So again, here's another shot where it looks like I shouldn't have an angle, but I do. So I'm going to just back out of this, switch back over to my other gun, and let's see what happens here. I notice the timer doesn't stop while I'm watching these animations.
Yeah, I was a little nonplussed by that myself. It's like the timer's going down and it switches to the glam cam for suppression. Not brilliant.
Yeah, now this sniper does have one feature which I like, which is called double tap. Which means if I hit once, I get another free shot. So I've just hit Rob for 11 with 2 sniper shots, basically, which is pretty sweet. So let's see what we can do about this Overwatch problem we're having here. Oh, I can't move and shoot that. That's a bummer. Alright, then we'll just do it old school. But I'm going to try and take this guy out since he's already hurting.
Ugh.
See, like you said, that middle is dangerous. It's hard to hold. I mean, this guy's suppressed to hell. Like, if I try and do anything with him, he's probably going to die. That's my sense. And doing anything with him would actually include moving, so you got to be real careful with what you do when you've got a suppressed unit. So I've got some powers here, rapid fire, drops my percentage. I'm just going to take a regular shot, see if I can at least give him something to think about. Nope. That shot. Yeah, so my guy is suppressed, is not going to be able to move because I ran out of time. And he's down to 1 health, so he is likely dead. But nonetheless, I've got 2 of Rob's guys down. I've got 1 guy mildly wounded, but he's got 1 dude with elevation, which is really nice. You do get a bonus to hit when you're elevated over enemies. And then you can actually take perks that'll give you more bonuses when you're elevated. Ooh. The sizzle of that laser rifle is so nasty sounding. It sounds like you're cauterizing the wound as it lands. Oh, here comes the rocket. Yep, there you go. That's how you kill 2 guys at once. Well played.
Alright, now...
Now, you'll see here, this one character who's behind cover, she's not actually dead, she's just critical. So she's got 3 turns to live, basically. Uh-oh. Yeah. Rob is bringing it all to bear. So if I could get a healer... If I could get a healer up to her, then I could actually potentially save her. The problem, of course... no targets. Okay. So the problem, of course, is that in order to actually get up there, I'd have to... There's not much cover. I'd have to put myself out on the... into some pretty nasty crap, so I'll probably avoid doing that.
It'd be nice if I could do anything on my waiting period. Like, I'm kind of curious, like, to view unit stats, for instance. Like, I'm really interested by this one unit you've got with, oh dear. This unit you've got with, like, the insane number of hit points. Woman crouched by the base of the memorial. By the base of the park, I should say.
Yeah.
Is that Titan armor she's got?
Honestly, at the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. I'm going to try a psi attack here. So I just hit Rob with a psi attack. So that is a psionic unit I've got there. And she's able to basically, she can technically, she can mind control units. She can, ooh, there goes that car blowing up. Nice environmental stuff, you know, like when cars are on fire, they will blow up eventually, so they're kind of dodgy cover. So she can mind control, she can do a psi attack on you, she can do all kinds of things. So I hit him, so that did damage. You can see the little blue wavy crap on his character. That reduces his will, his aim, his accuracy, so it's actually going to make him a little less effective. I'm not sure how long it lasts. I think it's probably just for 1 round. So I've got rocket launcher guy there who's taking some damage. I've got my psi character who's still got a decent amount of health. Not great cover. I've got my healer type who's sitting in the back, which isn't the best place for him. And I've got my sniper over here, just kind of chilling out. Problem with snipers, you cannot move and then attack unless you've got a skill specifically that lets you do that. It's actually one of the areas of XCOM I like, which is just that when you're building, when your characters are leveling up, their stats are what they are, but you get to choose from a skill tree. So it's just a single skill tree for like support class, assault class, sniper class, things like that. So you're basically just going down the tree and making decisions every time you level. Sometimes it's like you just get this skill, and sometimes it'll actually, you'll have to choose between 2 really cool skills and kind of customize your guy that way.
So my battle plan here has basically been shot to hell at this point. Like, walking into that first turn Overwatch kind of wrecked everything. So, like, losing that first guy, it's something I've noticed, actually. Things tend to cascade in multiplayer here because you have so few units, so few guys, that, you know, the difference between having, you know, like, if you've got a squad of 5 people, you've basically got, like, 10 actions per turn. You know, you lose a couple of guys before you can inflict casualties, and now the disparity in what your 2 teams are capable of is huge. And so, like, this becomes a really tricky position because, like, dudes have to do things like reload, you know, get out of position. And if you do that, now you've burned their turn, and at that point you're really, you know, you're really down on firepower.
Roger. I've got my eyes
Very
on.
much so. You can actually see at the bottom right-hand corner of my screen, this guy, he's got half his ammo left. So I mentioned there's no ammo inventory management. However, there is management just in terms of there's management just in terms of you still need to reload your gun. So the pro tip would be, if you need to reload your gun, what you want to do is move once if you have a place you want to move to, and then reload, because like shooting, as soon as you reload, your turn is over. So you got to kind of manage that a little bit. Here's one Overwatch shot. Ooh.
Okay, so my sniper apparently can't see a damn thing, which is...
And I can't see your sniper either.
Right, and I don't really understand why. Like, she's standing on top of the bus, which appears to be like higher elevation than the... Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, like when you go into aim with your sniper, do you feel like you should have better view than you actually do?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, because where I'm at, like, I actually pulled my sniper back just so that I could see, if I could see on top of that bus, and nothing, like bupkis. Like, I can't see your character up there at all. To the point where I wasn't sure if your sniper was even still up there, because I felt like I should have been able to. Now, you saw my sniper actually do a quick Overwatch shot with my pistol. So switching weapons is a free action in XCOM, which is really useful when you're a sniper, because I can't Overwatch with my sniper rifle unless I've actually unless in this sniper's case, unless I've actually sat there, not moved, and not taken a shot. But if I switch to my pistol after moving, I can do Overwatch with the pistol. So regular pistols, no great shakes. Laser pistol's a bit better, a little less accurate, but... ugh. So Rob's got me an Overwatch. Let's see if I can do anything about that from over here.
Well,
yeah, wow. See, sometimes you get like a really great accuracy. Rob, maybe you can confirm this. When I'm a sniper, if I sit in one place, the longer I sit there, it seems like the better my accuracy is.
No, I don't think so. I think it's just...
I'm about to take a 100% hit chance shot, which you don't see too often, because I am a decent ways away, but it is a sniper.
Well,
so.
I don't know what abilities your sniper has.
Yeah, well, this is a pretty good sniper. The only ability I just used here was a special headshot style ability that actually lets me... special headshot style ability that actually lets me...
Okay, click on your unit's abilities, because I think that says Executioner, and I'm not sure, does that give you a free action, or a increased 2-hit chance on a wounded enemy?
I think, no, what that one does is I get something they call double tap, which is if I make a successful hit, then what I can do is I can actually take another free shot.
Yeah, but that's one of your unit's abilities. The other's Executioner, which I think gives it... the reason you had 100% chance there, I think, is because you had sort of a flanking position. Good. And then I think the Executioner ability, when you were targeting someone with like less than 50% health,
yeah,
it increases the chances you're going to get a kill.
Gotcha.
So, and if that sniper's also carrying a scope, like those things can ramp up very quickly.
Scanning.
But yeah, I don't think like hanging out in one position increases your odds really of hitting.
Yeah. So my double tap, unfortunately, only lets me shoot twice, and I don't have any other targets. So at this point, this guy who doesn't have a lot to do. Yes. I'm frozen. I don't know what to do. You do that.
Roger. I've got my eyes on.
So I'm feeling pretty good right now. I think Rob's only got 2 guys left. One of them's pretty heavily wounded. He's got a sniper who was up on the bus. I'm not sure where he went, but I've got different watch over the left side. Oh, it kicked me out.
You're kidding.
Network connection's been lost. Make sure connection's enabled. Multiplayer functioning will be disabled until the issue is resolved. They're not even nice about it. All right. Well, I think we'll call that good on our.
Yeah, I think I'll give you the win here. There was no way I was bringing that around. The Muton Elite I chose. I'd gone with a bad build. I thought the Muton Elite would be more of like a regular trooper. He was actually just another support gunner, and support gunners have really terrible accuracy.
Yes.
They're
great
really
for
there for suppression.
Yeah,
right,
great
when
for suppression.
Yeah, when 2 people out of 5 don't get 2-hit chances at medium range beyond like 35%, that's kind of a mismatch. The other thing that really got me there was simply whatever weird line of sight rules were governing my my sniper were kind of disappointing there. It was one of the few times where I felt like one of the things this game is really good about is communicating what you see into actual assessment of the battlefield. Like what you see really is like what you think, how things are going to work. My sniper position there really didn't match up at all. My sniper looked like she should have been commanding the entire middle of the map. Yeah. And instead, it seemed like she'd just forgotten her glasses and was a little nearsighted up there.
Yeah, she really didn't do much. I think she'd gotten... Did she get a shot like kind of right off in the middle at one? I think at one of my guys who blew up with a rocket. Yeah, and that seemed to be about it as far as that. You would have thought that the sniper would have had better view overall than that.
Yeah. So, boy, not a stellar outing though for the multiplayer functionality here. The game's fine. It was kind of fun. It was a cool little back and forth. But good God, if Steam like has a hiccup, this thing is just like record scratch sound and yanks the jack out of the amp.
Yeah, it really is. And like we pointed out, XCOM multiplayer. This isn't why you buy XCOM. It's fun. I played with Charlie last night. To be fair, no disconnections with him at all. It ran well. It's 5 maps, 1 game mode. And as far as like the point buy system, you can actually ahead of time before you even go into a game, you can actually choose. You can make a team ahead of time. The problem is that they don't let you say make a 10,000 point team, a 20,000 point team. You can only make 1 team. So if you make a really great 20,000 team and you go into a 10,000 match, you're going to have to take that team and dismantle it and make your 10,000 team instead. So it's like they did enough to get multiplayer onto the box. I wouldn't say they're excelling at it. I wouldn't say that they're really blowing my mind with their multiplayer options. XCOM is very much, to my mind, a single-player game. The single-player gameplay, obviously, is exactly what you just saw here, just in single-player with the added strategic mode overview. So,
well, and that's something else, is that you have the option to buy the aliens here, but the problem is, well, the aliens kind of suck, and that's by design. Like in the single-player campaign, you can only have a maximum of 6 human characters, so the 6 human characters really need to be able to kick ass, whereas the aliens they're fighting can't be as good because there's going to be possibly like 20 of them in a battle, and so when you translate that to multiplayer, I'm really hard pressed to think of a reason why I should have gone with an alien at all when you could have gotten far more like versatile characters as humans.
Yeah, like when I played last night with Charlie, he'd picked a couple. He had like 2 big. We played a 10,000 game, so he had a couple big dudes and then a couple sectoids. And the sectoids have 3 health, minimal firing power, no real abilities beyond that. And so when I'm in Overwatch, as soon as they come into view, if I hit them, they're dead, unless you have a pistol. So it's cool to have the option. It's certainly not something we ever had with the original XCOM, so I applaud that. I wish their implementation was a little bit better on the multiplayer. But overall, though, with the single player, I am very high on the single player. When I talked about interesting decisions every 30 seconds, the single player, for a turn-based strategy game especially, is a goer. Like, I am always doing something. So I hit that same time warp I get with Civilization, which is like I start at 7 p.m. and all of a sudden it's midnight. I have no idea where the time went.
I'm just curious, have you played, it sort of ends Act 1 of the game, but there's like an assault on an enemy base at some point in the game. Have you hit that yet?
Yeah, like when you play like I'm just playing a normal regular game because I wanted to see what their baseline was, and so they take you through all the tutorial stuff, and it seems like there's basically a story as you go. Like you're doing abduction sites, you're shooting down alien craft, but it's not like the original XCOM, at least in this mode, which was just start your base and off you go. This one's actually starts you with a base, and it pushes you along. So eventually it's like, hey, we've located the signal of the alien craft, or of an alien signal, and you attack their base. And that stuff. So it kind of escalates up. What I haven't tried yet is if I play, like, say, a classic mode Iron Man, I assume it kind of eschews all that story stuff and just takes you just into a base game.
No, the story's still there. I mean, you can skip the tutorial. You can skip the earliest tutorial stuff, although... Yeah. That's actually not completely true because the opening phases of the game still follow kind of a road pattern, whether or not you're getting the tutorial or not, which is a little frustrating, I think. Like, it kind of means that your first few games are going to be, fairly similar. Although in Classic Iron Man, it's pretty brutal right from the start. But no. Anyway, the only reason I brought up the base assault though is there are certain battles in this game where that time warp really kicks on, because most of the battles are only about like maybe 20 minutes. You're gonna be able to fight the entire engagement. It's gonna be like 6 guys versus like maybe a dozen aliens, and that's gonna be it. But there's some, and occasionally you run across just these like huge sprawling epic fights that I couldn't walk away. Like I was sitting there, and I think I was involved in this just brutal hive clearing operation. It was like, I don't know, I must have been in there for 3 hours, because when I came out, like the light had changed outside. But it was utterly fantastic, because I was just sitting there like, you're dimly aware that you're like starving and you have to go to the bathroom and you're tired and the day's getting late, and you're like, no, I gotta clear this next room, and then I can stop.
Yeah, exactly. It really does give you that sense, which is it's a Firaxis trademark, right? Like Firaxis understands that, and they've really managed to nail that here. So even though this is very different from a lot of the Firaxis games we've seen in the past, it still has that DNA. Like it still really does have that. Lots of cool things to do. Time disappears, and XCOM's a great game. So definitely encourage you to check it out. It is out on the PC, the 360, and the PS3. And by all accounts, it's pretty damn solid on all of them. So you can't really go wrong there. So Rob, thanks for joining us for this, kind of hit or miss video feature, but good conversation and a good warning shot if you're super excited about multiplayer. Exactly some of the hurdles you may encounter there. Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll probably do another video at some point soon that's more single player focused, so we can give you a better view on that.
I'm on the move.